What if I told you that every time you tell a woman she's beautiful, you're quietly putting yourself in the same category as every other guy she forgot last week? Sounds harsh, right? But here's the truth. Most men compliment women in a way that screams, "I don't really see you. I just want something from you. You're gorgeous. You have the most amazing smile. You're perfect." These aren't compliments. They're cliches. And while your intention might be genuine, the effect is forgettable. Because the second a woman hears the same words she's heard 100 times before, her mind files you under predictable, maybe even desperate. Now here's what's worse, you start to feel confused. You were nice. You were polite. You gave her praise. And yet, she pulls away. You think, maybe I'm just not good-looking enough? Or maybe women only want bad boys. But no, the problem isn't your face or your income. It's your attention. You're looking at her surface and ignoring her substance. And deep down, you know that. You know there's more to attraction than looks. You know you're capable of deeper connection. But no one ever taught you how to show it. Well, that's about to change. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 3 compliments that aren't just rare, they're almost forbidden. Not because they're wrong, but because most men aren't brave enough to see women this clearly. These compliments cut through appearances and speak directly to who she is. If you've ever felt invisible despite doing everything right, keep watching. Because by the end of this, you'll never compliment a woman the same way again. Ready? The ancient Stoics believed that true value lies not in what's seen, but in what's chosen. To them, beauty wasn't just in the face. It was in virtue, in resilience, in how a person responded to chaos, fear, or challenge. Now think about that in the context of modern dating. Most guys, without meaning to, treat women like museum exhibits, admired from afar, praised for how they look, but never truly understood. And that's where the Stoic man sets himself apart. He isn't swayed by surface attraction. He's fascinated by character. He watches how she speaks when she's tired, how she treats people who can't offer her anything, how she responds when life doesn't go her way. And then, instead of saying, "You're beautiful," he says something that touches her identity, something that no one else has seen, but that she knows is true about herself. Because here's the truth, women don't just want to be desired. They want to be recognized. Recognized for their strength, their depth, their unique fingerprints on the world. When you shift your compliments from surface to soul, something strange happens. She leans in, her guard drops, the dynamic changes. Suddenly, you're not another guy. You're the man who saw what no one else did. The Stoics taught that only a wise man sees clearly. And when you choose to see beyond beauty and speak to character, you become unforgettable. So before we get into the first forbidden compliment, ask yourself, am I brave enough to notice what others ignore? If you are, comment character over charm. Because that's what this is about. Not charm, not tricks, but the courage to see deeper and speak truth. Let's start with the first forbidden compliment. I respect how you handle difficulty. Now pause for a second. When was the last time someone told you that? Not you're strong, not you're amazing, but real, specific respect for how you face chaos. Exactly. That's why this compliment hits like lightning. Because when you say it to a woman and you mean it, you're doing something that most men never even think to do. Most guys, they chase ease. They say, "You're pretty," because it's easy. They notice her makeup, her dress, her laugh. But a Stoic man? He notices her in the fire. He pays attention when life isn't filtered. When she's dealing with stress, family drama, uncertainty. He watches how she carries it. How she organizes, protects, chooses composure over chaos. That's when he speaks. And the words don't feel like a compliment. They feel like a recognition. A mirror held up to the version of her that even she forgets about sometimes. I'll never forget Sarah. She wasn't just beautiful. She was centered. Her dad got sick suddenly. The whole family fell apart. But she? Calm. Strategic. Quiet strength. And after watching her lead through that storm, I looked her in the eyes and said it. I respect how you handle difficulty. Most people break down. You become more of who you are. She didn't smile. She paused. She saw I wasn't flattering her. I was seeing her. That one sentence rewrote our connection. Because I wasn't praising her body. I was acknowledging her character under pressure. That's the kind of compliment she'll replay in her head for weeks. Not just because it felt good, but because it felt true. Here's the thing. When you tell a woman, I respect how you handle difficulty, you're not just saying words. You're triggering something primal in her psychology. Why? Because almost no one notices that part of her. Think about it. From the time she was young, she was likely praised for being cute, pretty, sweet, talented. External stuff. Safe stuff. But what about when she made the hard choice? When she kept it together while everyone else collapsed? When she showed up anyway, even when no one was watching? Most people miss that version of her. So when you, a man, see her not just as attractive, but as resilient, you're speaking to the version of herself she's most proud of, but least recognized for. And that hits different. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Our life is what our thoughts make it." When you praise her choices, not her luck, not her looks, you're confirming that who she is was built, not gifted. It tells her, I see the architect behind the calm, the intention behind the strength. This breaks through surface-level attraction because you're not just admiring her, you're respecting her. And respect is magnetic. But here's what makes this even more powerful. Most guys would never think to say it. They're too caught up in looking cool, sounding smooth. You saw the storm and the stillness inside her. And you said something no one else had the courage or awareness to say. That's why it shocks her. Not because it flatters, but because it validates. If you've ever been seen that deeply, you know what I'm talking about. Now imagine giving that gift to her. Let's move to the second forbidden compliment. You have a rare kind of intelligence. Now hold up. I know what you're thinking. Smart compliments are everywhere, right? But that's the problem. They're vague, shallow, and honestly, lazy. You're so smart means nothing if you can't say why. And most guys, even when they want to praise a woman's mind, fall into the trap of complimenting her job, her degree, her resume. But a Stoic man? He looks deeper. He studies how she thinks, not just what she knows. That's where the magic happens. Because intelligence isn't just about facts or success. It's about how someone sees the world, connects ideas, questions what others accept. And when you recognize that her process, her curiosity, her mental patterns, you're acknowledging something that most people never even notice. Let me tell you what I learned from my buddy Marcus. Nothing flashy about him. Not tall, not rich, not the life of the party. But women would become obsessed with him after one conversation. Why? Because while other guys talked at women, he listened into them. At a party once, I watched him speak to a woman who led a marketing team. Most guys asked about her role, gave her the "wow, that's impressive" line. Marcus, he listened to how she solved problems, and then said, "You have a rare kind of intelligence. You don't just solve what's in front of you. You see what's coming before others even know it's a problem." Her entire energy shifted, not because it was romantic, but because it was rare. He saw the way her mind worked, not the outcome, the process. And that, my friend, is unforgettable. So how do you actually deliver this compliment without sounding forced or fake? Here's the key. Observation before admiration. Before you say a word, pay attention. What kinds of questions does she ask? How does she connect ideas in conversation? Does she challenge assumptions or follow them? You're not looking for academic brilliance. You're looking for original thinking. Let me break it down for you with a few examples. Maybe she listens quietly, but then asks a question that reframes the whole topic. That's intuitive intelligence. Maybe she jumps between unrelated topics and somehow links them with insight. That's creative pattern recognition. Maybe she breaks down emotional dynamics like a therapist, even if she's never studied psychology. That's emotional intelligence. The trick is to be specific. Don't just say, "You're smart." Say, You ask questions that get to the heart of things. Most people skate on the surface. You dive. Or, you read people with scary accuracy. It's like you know what they're really feeling before they do. Or, you have this way of connecting ideas that most people don't even realize are related. That's not just smart. That's rare. And here's the most important part. When you say it, don't try to impress her. You're not performing. You're reflecting. Like a mirror, showing her a truth about herself that she's felt but never heard out loud. That's why it lands. It's not about flattery. It's about precision. When you describe her mind in a way that feels true, you create intimacy through insight. And that is a game most men don't even know exists. Now we arrive at the most powerful and most dangerous of the three. You bring out something better in people. This isn't just a compliment. It's a reflection of impact. Because here's the truth. Most women go through life being seen for how they look or what they achieve. Rarely, does someone pause to say, I noticed how you made everyone else feel. But you noticed. You watched her steer awkward conversations into warmth. You saw how she included the quiet ones. You felt the room shift when she spoke. Not louder, but deeper. That's not social charm. That's emotional leadership. And when you name it, clearly, sincerely, you're not just praising her, you're honoring her presence. Let me tell you how I learned this. At a friend's party, his girlfriend Emma was doing something different. While he joked and drank, Emma connected. She listened, asked real questions, noticed when someone was left out, and gently brought them in. She didn't dominate the room. She lifted it. At the end of the night, while she was cleaning up, I said to her, you bring out something better in people. Everyone around you walks away a little more open, a little more alive. She stopped, looked at me, and then said, that's the most meaningful thing anyone's ever said to me. Why? Because I saw what she gave, not what she was. Most men never notice that. But the Stoic man, the rare man, does. He sees not just how she looks or thinks, but how she affects the world around her. And when you name that power clearly, specifically, you don't just attract her. You honor her. So why does this one, you bring out something better in people, hit her differently? Because it breaks the script. It bypasses attraction based on gain and moves into connection based on recognition. Most men focus on what they can get from her, affection, attention, approval. But you focus on what she gives to others. You step outside your ego and into observation, and that changes the whole dynamic. Instead of being just another guy seeking her validation, you become the man who validates her impact. Now here's the wild part. Most women don't know this is what they crave. They've been praised for success. They've been admired for looks. They've been noticed for performance. But rarely have they been seen for their presence. That invisible but undeniable shift they create in a room. In energy. In people's hearts. And when you name it, not with poetry or flattery, but with clarity and specificity, you move from the crowd to her memory. The Stoics believed our highest calling is to serve the common good, to elevate the world around us through who we are. So when you tell a woman, I watched how you brought that group together without even trying, or you make people feel like they matter, and they don't even realize it happened, you're not just giving a compliment, you're revealing her power. And more importantly, you're showing yourself as a man who sees beyond the surface. That's not attraction based on luck. That's respect built on insight. Let's take a step back. Why do these compliments work so powerfully? It's not just psychology. It's philosophy. Stoic wisdom teaches us that true value comes from virtue, not appearance, not fortune, not status. Virtue means strength of character, clarity of thought, the ability to make others and yourself better. And when you build your attraction on that foundation, everything changes. You're no longer trying to be flashy or smooth. You're grounded. You observe deeply. You speak truthfully. You become a rare man in a world of noise. Because let's face it, most dating advice out there? Tricks. Scripts. Say this line. Get this reaction. But Stoicism doesn't play that game. It asks something harder of you. Be a man worth noticing. Be a man who notices what matters. When you practice this, you'll notice something strange. You'll stop trying to impress. You'll start revealing. You'll listen more, speak less, compliment less often, but far more powerfully. And women will feel it, not because you're louder, but because you're clearer. The Stoics knew attention is power. And when you place your attention on someone's virtue, not their vanity, you give a gift that sticks. You move from flirting to connecting, from attraction to impact. So ask yourself honestly, are you chasing quick validation or building deep respect? Are you mimicking compliments or mastering character? If you want women to take you seriously, you have to take your attention seriously first. Virtue recognizes virtue. And if you want real attraction, start there. So let's bring this all together. You've just learned 3 compliments that most men will never use, not because they're inappropriate, but because they require presence. They require you to see, to observe what others overlook, to speak what others are too distracted to notice. Let's recap. 1. I respect how you handle difficulty. You're not praising her mood. You're honoring her strength under pressure. 2. You have a rare kind of intelligence. You're not impressed by facts. You admire the way her mind works. 3. You bring out something better in people. You don't focus on what she achieves. You reflect the quiet power she gives away every day. These aren't tricks. They're truths. And when spoken from sincerity, not strategy, they change how she sees you. You stop being another guy in her inbox. You become the man who gets it. The Stoics taught us that we can't control outcomes, only our choices. So choose your words with intention. Choose your attention with integrity. And next time you're tempted to say, "You're beautiful," pause. Look again. What else do you see? What strength? What subtlety? What soul? Speak that, and watch what happens. Now, I've got a challenge for you. Pick one of these compliments. Just one. And this week, use it. Not as a line, not as a flex, but as a mirror. See her clearly, and reflect it back. Then come back here and tell me what happened. Comment below with the compliment you'll try first. And if this spoke to you, if something shifted, hit that like, subscribe, and share it with a friend who's ready to stop being average. Because when you speak like this, you're not just attracting women. You're becoming a man of virtue.